Only 2 rounds remain in Monster Energy AMA Supercross for 2025. Denver this Saturday and Salt Lake City next weekend. We'll give you the Denver preview right here. We'll also have the Leatt injury report and Jason Thomas with the track report. But first, let's get you some storylines. I'm Sarah Whitmore Smodgy, and it starts with the 450 title fight. A big tilt in Pittsburgh as Cooper Webb comes out on top, wins the race, and stretches his point lead back to 12 over Chase Sexton. Now the math says if Webb finishes third or better in both races to end the year, he wins the title no matter what Sexton does. But Webb was quick to say in the press conference that this would not be easy. He knows it's motorsports and anything can happen. There are other battles to watch as well. It's getting awfully close for fourth in the championship between Malcolm Stewart and the surging Justin Cooper. And don't forget, when Pro Motocross begins, the Lawrence brothers, Eli Tomac, Jorge Prado, and others should be back in action. So that is going to be wild in less than 1 month's time. As for the 250 class, this weekend is the return for 250 West. On the RacerX website, there's a full breakdown for Hayden Deegan and what it would take to clinch this championship. But we'll make it as simple as possible for you here. He simply needs 2 fifth-place finishes in the final 2 races, and he will win the title no matter what anyone else does. It's worth noting that Deegan's worst finish of the year is a 5th, and that happened when he went down early at Anaheim 1. So the chances of him going outside the top 5 twice is pretty remote. The pressure is on everyone else. Second in points is his rookie teammate Cole Davies, who is surging with 2 victories in a row. Julian Baumer and Joe Shimoda had hot starts earlier in the year, but they must beat Deegan this weekend or they'll be eliminated from title contention. Next week's race is the Dave Coombs Sr. East-West Showdown, and both number 1 plates for East and West will be handed out. Of course, there's a small chance that Deegan could wrap it up as early as this Saturday, but with the way Davies is riding, that would seem unlikely. Now, let's get to the track report from Jason Thomas.
The penultimate round of the Monster Energy Supercross Championship is in Denver, Colorado, and a few things stand out. First, the elevation in Denver is notable. Being at 5,200 feet at this race is a big ask on the motorcycles. Every single rider that goes out on the racetrack for the first time is going to simply notice they don't have much power. So the 450 class, they can manipulate their motorcycles a little bit. They can change their ECU settings. They could even bump up the compression if they were so inclined on the engine to give them more power. So they can manage these things. The 250 class, though, is a little bit different. They're going to be on the limit, which they already are. So rhythm sections become a little bit more difficult. Carrying momentum through corners becomes paramount because you simply can't get back to speed as quickly. Furthering that, Denver has a traction problem. The dirt will be very hard by main event time. It always is. So the inside lines become less usable. Even though if you look back at 2024, riders were going to the inside, but you could see them tiptoeing around. They really couldn't be aggressive on the throttle. So it is a different type of race, especially than the East Coast that we've seen. You need to carry momentum. You need to be very focused on using berms and using traction because it will be at a premium. Looking at the racetrack itself, there are a lot of flat corners. The corner before the whoops, that's a big one because riders are going to hug that inside. They're going to enter the whoops with lower speed than they would really like. So this is a big coup for riders who want to jump through the whoops because riders who want to blitz simply won't have a lot of momentum coming in. So the lack of entry speed by other riders becomes a strength or a coup for riders who want to jump. One inability to blitz becomes a strength for those who want to jump. So just watch for that. We all know who the riders are who want to jump. Justin Cooper, Cooper Webb being at the foremost of those, and it offsets some advantage that Chase Sexton or Aaron Plessinger or Malcolm Stewart might have in this section. The start is fairly long, and it goes into a double apex left. So watch for that. If the riders that can get to the inside quickly, they can hug that inside all the way around. We've seen that so many times in both classes. You don't have to be there first, but if you can establish your positioning on the very inside of that corner, you can shoot across the gap and beat those riders to the second apex in that corner. But all in all, the prototypical Denver racetrack, hard, slippery. You have to tiptoe a little bit with the lack of traction, but also be very mindful of carrying momentum with the elevation and lack of power. Enjoy the weekend. 2 to go.
Thanks, JT. Now for the injury report from Leatt. In the 450 class, Jason Anderson is out with an undisclosed health issue. The team says he will return for Pro Motocross. Justin Barsha injured his knee while battling for a podium in New Jersey. He went over the bars in the whoops. He's out for Supercross, aiming to return for Pro Motocross. Benny Bloss has been dealing with a rib injury since the New Jersey race. He DNF'd Pittsburgh, but he will race in Denver. Other big injuries you know about. We've already mentioned them here. Hunter Lawrence, Jet Lawrence, Jorge Prado, and Eli Tomac. They will return for Pro Motocross. Also, Jerry Robin, we highly encourage you to check out the Road to Recovery site. That's road2recovery.com. He fractured his T5 and T6 vertebrae and several ribs in New Jersey, and he is currently paralyzed from the belly button down. So go to Road to Recovery to help him out. Also, it's our best time to mention that the Yamaha LCQ Privateer Challenge race, organized by Steve Mathis, will take place Friday afternoon in Denver, and a lot of the money will go to help Jerry Robin. In fact, Kyle Chisholm will race this event, and he will donate all the money he gets to Jerry. If you want to support privateers, go to pulpmx.com to donate and enter the raffle for a brand new 2025 Yamaha YZ450. All the money raised goes to the privateers. It's a really fun race, and you can watch it with VurbMoto on their YouTube channel. The show starts at 2:45 Mountain Time Friday. Again, 2:45 Mountain Time on Friday on VurbMoto's YouTube channel. We'll also have a link to that on the RacerX website. As for injuries in the 250 class, TJ Albright had surgery before East Rutherford to repair a meniscus tear in his knee, and he will return to racing in Denver. Drew Adams hurt his collarbone in his second professional Supercross race in Glendale, but he will be back this weekend as well. A lot of the other injuries were already known. Anthony Burden, big injuries earlier in the year, hip, pelvis, and back, he's not racing. Ryder DeFrancesco, internal injuries, he's out. Derek Drake is back on the bike, but he's not racing Supercross because of Lyme disease. He plans on racing Pro Motocross. Evan Ferry out with an Achilles tear. Talon Hawkins out with a femur injury. Billy Laninovich is out with a wrist injury. Ty Masterpool, broken fingers, waiting to return at Pro Motocross. Jet Reynolds has a broken leg. We're not sure of his timetable to return. Styles Robertson, wrist injury, not sure when he will be back. Josh Varese suffered a fractured vertebrae in Seattle. He's out for the season. Finally, Robbie Wageman is in. This will be his first race of the year after dislocating his wrist in the offseason. And that concludes the injury list. That'll do it for this week's weekend preview. Stay tuned to RacerX on social channels and the website and right here on the YouTube channel for all your information.